What's up, my fellow guardians? This is HBK Grant and we are making a video about the Eater of Worlds today. So before we get into that, I actually want to say, like, the people that actually start out with the raids in Destiny 2, the easiest way to remember this is, like, if you do this raid, it actually gives you a boost into understanding how raid stuff works in Destiny 2. So for those people who are like doing raids for the first time, I highly recommend actually starting off with the Eater of Worlds, because you will learn how like teamwork stuff works in raids, what type of weapons could be beneficial, what happens in the raid in specific encounters. Obviously, like, it's all the encounters are different in all the different raids, but in my opinion, Eater of Worlds is by far one of the easiest raids, or actually is probably the easiest raid in the game right now. So if I wanted to like rank from like 1 to 5 or something like that, I would rank this like level 1 raid, because like it's pretty simple. The only part like is the final part where like you just need to have like a bit of DPS, but even if you don't and you know what you're doing, you don't mess up. So it's pretty like straightforward. So moving on, so we're gonna start with the first encounter, by far the easiest encounter you could encounter in any encounter.
Say what?
Anyways, to start the encounter, you need to make your way after this gate. You'll see like there are like these pressure plates that are floating on the water. If you go inside the water, you're gonna die. Now, the best way to do it is just remember this, guys. 2 people cannot be on the same plate. You see that steam coming out? So make sure that like one person is on it at the time. So you need to form like a line. So like, and you designate like 1 to 6 numbers to everybody. Now, when the first person jumps on the first plate, the second plate will appear, and then the first person will go to the second place, and the person that was designated number 2, he goes to the first plate, if that makes sense. So you're just kind of like following a snake chain pattern, and as the new plate comes in, the people start going after, and you'll see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you are in the regular Eater of Worlds, it requires about 3 people to be simultaneously doing it. If you are in Prestige, it has 4. Sometimes it glitches out, you can even do it with 3. Sometimes it glitches out, you could do it with 4. Sometimes it even glitches out and you need all people to actually do it. So I've tested the theory multiple times. There's been time where we've done it with like 3 people. There's been time like 3 people was like just not letting go, so we needed the 4th person. So once you make this first step of areas clear, you'll see like this ring circle that you guys just saw was turned yellow. So that means that basically you have got the checkpoint. So at this point, people who were at like number 5, 6, they most likely might die. So don't worry about that. Just wait for them to respawn, and you'll see like since you got the checkpoint, all the plates that you missed earlier will come back up, and they can just like simply run across. In the meantime, a second set will start appearing before you. Now, in this encounter, what's going to happen is one is going to be popping up on the right side and the other one will be popping on the left side. So what you have to do is divide it into a team of 2. So 3 people will be going to the right side, whereas 3 people will be going to the left side. So, and it is actually like each plate comes out a zigzag. So 1 on the right, 1 on the left. Then the second one will come on the right. Once that is taken care of, the second one will come on the left. So you got to keep doing that, but you got to make sure there's going to be like actually a path where it closes in. So people actually get confused and 2 people jump on the same plate at the same time. So one thing to remember, guys, whichever pressure plate came out first will be going down first. Whichever came out last will be going down last. So based on that, just make sure that like if yours one came out last, you don't need to rush. You can actually stay there for a really long time. Even if the pressure plates turn red, you still have a couple of seconds. In the meantime, if the people at the front are fast enough, you are okay to go. Now, if you notice right here that like I waited for the right team because their pressure plates were coming out first. So you can actually let them go first and then go in. And then if again people died, you could just wait for that. Since you got the checkpoint, the pressure plates will come back out. Now, while you wait for your team members, if you have like 3 or 4, you guys can like start the next plates if you see them. So, but this one is kind of like a little bit similar to the previous one where you will need to like split up. However, in the initial part, what you have to do is have all 6 members stand on the plate. So if you notice right now, so there's 1 right there, 2 right there, 3 right there, then there's going to be the 4th one and the 5th one, and then I'm going to jump on the last plate. Then the person who was first, when he jumps on the 7th plate, another pressure plate will appear right in the beginning. So I'm currently 6th, the person goes on to the 7th plate, and as soon as I make it to this 2nd plate, this plate appears right over here. So the 6th person jumps on this. When I jump onto the next plate, number 5 will jump onto the following plate, and then when I jump even further, number 4 will jump onto the plate behind him. And at this point, we are going to sit still on the left side, whereas the right team, they're going to make their headway to the checkpoint. Now, why we are doing that is because keep in mind one rule. First plate that comes out will go down first. Last plate that comes out will go down last. So keeping that in mind, the right team's plates came out first, so they were going to go down first, so you just had to like let them go. Also, you are going to be faced with a lot of ads, so like if you have invisibility, shields, whatever, or like rocket launcher, just use whatever you want, because you're going to get rally banner as soon as you're done with this. Now we are on to the final part of this jumping area. So what's going to happen is just remember all the rules, one after the other person, the first in, first out, last in, last out pressure plate. There's only one thing that is different over here. It's the jump that is about to come in, and usually people call it the X jump or the monkey jump. But there is actually an easier way. Most of the time when I started this raid out for the first time, and then a couple of LFG groups, they just kept like going about like the monkey jump, that you just have to do it that way. However, there is much simpler ways. So if you notice right now, the first person, he's gonna make a really big jump. He's gonna go all the way to the other side. There's a jump that comes into the middle. So that monkey jump, the first person would be actually jumping where I just jumped into the middle, and then I would be jumping where the first person was. So it is a little bit confusing when all 6 people behind you have to do that. So in the end, the second person just jumps into the middle, and then the first person just keeps moving forward to the next plate, and then you follow that person to whichever plate he went on to. So that will make the life a lot easier rather than trying to do the X jump or the monkey jump, because sometimes like people at the back, they are unable to do that. So keeping it simple will make life a lot easier. Now, failure to do any of the pressure plates, like if you do jump into multiple of them or 2 people jumping at the same time, you will have to constantly do them over and over again, but just make sure like following one after the other is the best way to go about doing this. Once everybody has made a cross for this platform and everybody's here, do not go into the middle, because that will start the next encounter. So wait for all 6 people. Once they're there, you'll see the rally banner on the left side. A lot of people like I've actually played with, they didn't even realize like there was a rally banner here at some point. So once the rally banner has been placed, everybody has taken it, you just go to the middle area and it will start this encounter. In this one, you can have 3 people on the left side and 3 people on the right side. And all you are doing the entire encounter is clearing ads. You can use your ultimates, you can use your like heavy machine guns. Like I think that would be the most preferable one if you're doing prestige and you can't switch between. So like try to like pick whichever one like can do like a lot of good damage or have like a lot of AoE supers. Now once completed, you just make your way towards the middle and you'll see there's a chest there. If you do have a contender shell, whether you are doing a regular Leviathan raid or a prestige one, it does give you a chance to get an exotic engram. However, even if you don't, at some point you will have all the exotics anyway. Once that is completed, you're just gonna jump into this turbine area, like it's like a big pipe, and you'll see like once you go down, it will pull you back up with the air vents and you will see this area. Now moving on to the next part of the encounter. So it is a pretty easy encounter. You just have to run across the room, but there's only one catch in this one. If you're not standing in the safe zones, you instantly die. You don't need your friends to revive you, so you can like respawn endlessly. However, everybody has to make it there. So if you just saw right now, like the whole room lit like white, and then like basically you could call it electricity. So if you're not standing in the safe zone areas, like these yellow stripe looking places, you will instantly die if you're in the middle of it or along the way or reaching close to a safe zone. Now, the thing to remember is every time that tube is actually like moving backwards, that's when like you want to run. Sometimes that tube actually does it fast, like ×2, so you have to be really careful of that part. Otherwise, you have plenty of time to actually skip a couple of the save zones and make it towards the next one. If it's your first time, try to like play as safe as possible, because like just to get the idea of how it works. Otherwise, like if you have done it multiple times, you will like know like, okay, I can skip like 1 or 2 and then just make it to the third one. Now, this is one of my favorite parts of the raid. So basically think yourselves as cannonballs, and this is a cannon and you get shot out. So for this encounter to start, you need all 6 people inside this cannon area. The doors will close, you'll see in shortly. And once you get shot out, you'll see there are 6 rings in total, 3 on the left side, 3 on the right side. So what you have to do is actually go through them in order for the encounter to be completed, and you get a secret chest at the end of it. Now, how that works is basically like if 2 people know what they're doing, one person can go to the left side and the other one can take care of the right side. But however, all 6 people can attempt it. There is no harm in that. Whereas if you do miss a circle, you can jump out of the map, like when you go reach at the bottom side, and then you'll respawn back where the cannon is. Now, you can have like your Titan, your Hunter, your Warlock for like jumping wise. So make sure you are using like your burst glides or whatnot with Titan and Warlock, so that way you can maneuver easily. With Hunter, I would recommend triple jump. So that way when you're like trying to like move a little bit left or right, you could use that jump to your advantage. So if you noticed, I went through the right 3 circles. One of my friends went through the left ones, and we were able to get this chest. If you do miss any ring by any chance, just jump off the map and you will respawn back at the top, and then you can just like try to jump back in. People who are at the bottom, they can actually see the rings, so they can actually even guide you, like whether it was the left one that's left out or the right one. So once that is done, make sure that everybody has claimed the chest, because when you move on to the next part and you start the encounter, it's going to be joining allies, just as usual, like when you do it in any other thing. So just make sure that like everybody has got the chest, otherwise they will miss the chest and they cannot go back to it. Now, before we move on to the final 2 phases of this raid, you basically have to divide your group into 3 teams of 2. One team will be dedicated to the void section, the other to the solar, and the last one to the arc. You could do vice versa, whichever makes you easier. Now, before you even actually start the encounter, just make sure that everybody is in place, because as soon as you pick up one of these craniums, the encounter starts. You will have a rally banner right next to the void section, so that way like everybody can get their rally. You're not facing the boss in this encounter, so you can actually use your ults, you could use anything you want, you just want to like get this thing over with. Now, what's the job of defenders? So there's going to be a defender in the void, 1 in solar, and 1 in arc. Your job is to basically clear ads. That's all you're going to be doing. Most likely, if somebody is new doing the raid for the first time, you would actually give that job to that person, because defending is just clearing ads. Then you have runners. So the runner's job is actually to pick up the craniums, and they're going to bring it back to like void, solar, or arc. And you'll see like these 3 fire like oven looking areas. So that's what people usually call them, ovens. And you use those craniums over on that one. So you'll see like the option to interact with it, and you will deposit it. And it takes a few seconds to cook them, and you will get like a void cranium, you'll get a solar cranium, and you'll get an arc cranium. So make sure that you're not running into any other people's craniums. So the void ones will be always to the left side, the solar ones to their left side, and then for the arc, you could say their left side if you want to look at this way. Now, what are you basically doing in this one? So as soon as everybody's in their spot, you pick up those craniums and you bring it to your section, you start cooking them. The first one, it doesn't take that long. Now, the last thing that you need to know, especially as a runner, what your job will be is destroying these crystals. Because when you guys start the second last encounter, you'll see there's like an armor plating around the boss. And you'll see like there are 6 holes on each side. So there will be 6 on the void, 6 on the solar, 6 on the arc side. Once you destroy these crystals successfully, you'll see that the armor plating disappears. So they will be spawning 3 at a time. Now, what can happen is that it could be of the same color or it could be different colors. Now this is where the runner's responsibility and job comes in. So like earlier I said, the void runner will go to the void to cook the cranium, the solar will go to the solar cranium, the arc will go to the arc cranium. Now it is the defender's job to call out these crystals, but sometimes when you, as a runner, when you're running around and if a crystal spawns in and you see the defender is not calling it out, you can also call it out as well. Now in this picture you'll see there is a void crystal, an arc crystal, and a solar crystal. So the runner who is responsible for solar craniums will be destroying the solar one. The person that is responsible for the arc one will come from the arc side, pick up his cranium, run towards the solar side, and he's going to destroy the arc crystal. The person who is responsible for void craniums will run towards the solar side and he will destroy the void crystal. Simultaneously, you will be actually doing that 6 times on each side. So sometimes it can be different. So when it's like one of each color, people usually just say rainbow on solar, rainbow on void, rainbow on arc, or something like that. But if it's like multiple colors, like sometimes it could be 2 solars, 1 void, 2 voids, 1 solar. So the runner that is free, let's say like it was 2 voids and 1 solar, arc is free. So it is arc's responsibility to run over to the void, pick up a cranium, and help assist. Now I made the video kind of like go a little bit faster over here because we've already discussed it all in the images, and now this is basically like how you implement all those mechanics. So you saw the void, then arc is on the right side, and from arc solar is on the right side, which makes it that the solar is on the left side of void. So for instance, when you have to run across, guys, keep an eye out and listen to where you have to go. So like for instance, if you have to go to solar from void, make sure you're not going to arc then going to solar. Once you have picked up the cranium, it starts the encounter, and then whichever one you were designated to, since I was designated to solar, I went and I picked up the cranium and deposited it into the solar ovens. So it will cook up solar craniums. Now, in the meantime, what I would recommend is if, for instance, your element is not being called out, you can be the runner for any side. Any runner that needs help should be calling it out. You gotta be really communicative on this one. As for the defenders, make sure you are killing ads using your supers to make it easy for the runners to actually do their job. Now, let's say there are 2 elements of the same type on your platform. So let's say if it's 2 solars on the same platform, a person from another element does not need to come in and assist you even if they're free, because you could just pick up those 2 craniums and destroy those crystals. However, let's say there are 2 arcs and then 1 void. So that makes a solar person be free. So what the person that is free at all times, like, or at any given time, they can be ready to deposit a mote for another runner, or they could go pick up a cranium from another person's like elemental area, pick up that cranium and assist them with wherever it is needed. So for instance, in this one, there were 2 arcs and 1 void. So the void person came in to destroy the void, the arc person went to destroy the arc. Since I was free from the solar side, I picked up the arc cranium and then I went to the back to my place at the solar side to destroy that arc cranium. Now you can keep that up at all times, and you'll notice that like if you are on top of things and you have already cooked craniums, you will do everything really fast. So in this one it is rainbow, so I destroyed mine. So the person who has arc will be coming in to destroy the arc one, and the person who is actually at the void side will be coming in to destroy the void crystal. Now once you have destroyed all the crystals, you will notice that there are no more armors and there are no more crystals spawning. You will see like the checkpoint or something like that, that you have completed the objective, and you'll see the next objective. At this point, everybody should go towards the void side because that's where the chest will appear. You can use your rally banners again in order to start for the next encounter. In terms of setup wise, for your warlock, for your titan, for your hunter, you can just wear like the Leviathan gear set. And if you have a hunter, for instance, since I'm using that, Celestial Nighthawk, Solar Bottom Tree, and you can also use Emperor's Blade mod. It is a Leviathan mod which gives you 25% extra damage for your solar abilities. Whereas for your warlock, you could use like Veil of Radiance. For your titan, you can use the bubble. Also, like for weapon wise, if you could use Xenophage, it does an intense amount of damage. If you don't have that, you could use Whisper of the Worm, Twin-tailed Fox, any rocket launcher you see fit, Anarchy, anything that you think like can do like insane amount of damage with precision shots. So the last encounter, basically one thing that you guys have to remember over here, the teams still apply. So there will be a Void team, Solar, and Arc, but there will be no crystals at this point. You have the same team, but the mechanic is a little bit different. This time you'll see like orbs appear on one of the platforms, whether on Arc, Solar, or Void. So this time on this image, it's on the Arc side. So the runners will be actually getting whatever the elements are, whereas for the defenders, all defenders will be uniting in Arc side. So if these orbs were on the Solar side, all defenders go there. If they were on the Void side, all defenders will go to the Void side. Now, why that is happening, there will be a lot of enemies, harpies, there will be a lot of minotaurs. So the defender's job is to go start quickly clearing those ads. Whereas for the runners, they're going to be gathering the elements. So since this was 2 Void, I got and grabbed my Void. And then the person who was responsible for Void, he's getting his Void. And then the person who was responsible for Arc got an Arc. So you call out whichever one you're going to be shooting at. At this point, you're going to be shooting a laser. So you have to constantly keep shooting at the orb, and it's going to start moving. So make sure you're shooting it until it reaches this side. So all 3 people have to do this simultaneously for these orbs. So the 3 runners, you got to do this simultaneously, and you'll watch it in the video. Because if one person does it too fast and the other 2 people are like haven't even started yet, you will have to go get another Void. So make sure you all, like, let's say count to 3 or something like that, and then start shooting, and make sure you're shooting it to the point where it actually comes in the middle. Now, since here there are 2 Voids, people, let's say like for example, one Void person already got his done, but he still has like some charge left. You can actually assist the other Void person to help him out. Simply the same thing. Your teams of 3 will be on their own platforms, the runners on their side and the defenders. But once the thing starts, you will see where the orbs are. So if this time they are on the Arc side, there's going to be like 2 Voids and an Arc. So if you have picked up your first cranium, I would recommend like trying to put it into the oven, so that way you have at least one of each element. Whereas you can pick the other craniums and go deposit them on the other side wherever it is needed. So that is the runner's job. Whereas the defenders, so since the orbs are at the Arc side, all the defenders should be there clearing the ads. Otherwise, there are a ton of ads to deal with when you're doing the DPS phase. And the problem with that is actually when they come in front of you, you actually do the damage to them instead of like trying to hit the boss, because you are basically focused on hitting the boss in the head. So once everybody is aligned, you just shoot at the orbs, they come into the middle, and you basically start doing the damage phase. The boss actually spews out like a web. If somebody does get caught in it, just call it out, and then the other people who are not caught in it, they can shoot at it. So once the first DPS phase is done, you don't need to kill the orbs or destroy the orbs for the second DPS phase. You can just feed the craniums as the runner. Whereas you will see these platform appears, just so think of it as second phase of this encounter. So if your DPS, you were not able to kill the boss in one go, you will see these platforms in the second phase. Wait for this to appear. So the boss actually has 3 spots that are like vulnerable. You will have 2 hands, 2 shoulders, and 2 backs. You can pick any one of them. So like if you pick the 2 hands first, 3 people should be on the left hand, 3 people should be on the right hand. And the purple aura that you saw around like the sides, those are like the boss's weapon. You can destroy them so that way he does less like damage on you guys. So once you have destroyed like the 2 hands, so left and right, you basically jump out of the platforms and then you prepare for the DPS phase again. Now this time it's on Arc again, the orbs. So the runners will actually pick up the craniums that are required and meet up on Arc, whereas the defenders will go there to defend as well. So you do the same process as you did in the first phase. Now let's just say that you would not have enough DPS to pull it off or kill the boss in this third phase. Then there will be a 4th phase. In that 4th phase, the platforms will appear again. And just like how you destroyed the hand, you will have to destroy the shoulders or the back part. Then you come out again and then you do the DPS phase again. But let's just say that you were not able to do the DPS, you were not able to kill the boss again, then the platforms will appear again. And at this point, whichever one was left out, so let's say in the last one you killed the back part, then you have to destroy the shoulders. Once you have destroyed the shoulders, then you have to do the DPS phase again. So in short, you have like 3 chances or whatnot, and there are a total of 6 phases you would have to deal with if you do not have a lot of DPS. After the 6th phase, it's kind of like in rage mode, and you basically, like, the boss goes in rage and you die. So you have to kill the boss before that happens. So make sure you have like at least Whisper of Worm before you're attempting this raid, because that's like could be like the easiest weapon you can get in order to do the DPS on the boss and whatnot. And there you have it, folks. You have completed the Eater of World raid. By far one of the easiest raids. I know it took a little bit of time with the video, but it's just that like once you know the mechanics, this is like a really quick raid. So thank you so much everybody for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, or if you need help with something, you can leave it in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer. You can also join the Discord if you want to like DM me for a quick answer. I can always answer that because I'm usually on my cell phone with that one. So thanks for watching, guys. This is HBK Grant taking off for the day. Have a great one. Take it easy. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button.